Hi, everybody, and welcome into this week's show here on JTV. You know, I know it's only been a week since we did last week's show on Monday, but I wasn't here Wednesday and Thursday, and then it was the weekend, so my days are all thrown off.
Oh, I get you.
But it's good to be back, and high school sports begin this week.
Begins this
we
week.
are back.
Yes, sir. And 2 a week now.
Yes, so we will be back with you on Hump Day Wednesday this week for the picks.
Let's go the picks.
And it's only high school this week, unless we want to do a couple week 0 college games. But
we could sneak them in there if we wanted to, but we'll talk about that.
There's a lot more high school games because it's non-conference.
Yeah,
so.
So we'll have plenty to talk about because Thursday and Friday, right?
Yes, games on Thursday and Friday this week. Next week, most teams play on Thursday, a couple on Friday too.
And all of those games for week 1 are on the bottom of the screen, so you're able to to see what's coming up.
Absolutely. High school sports begin this week in our area, and the Center for Family Health Area Scoreboard returns today, Monday, on our website each night, jtv.tv, plus our photo galleries. We'll have a couple of soccer and volleyball photo galleries tonight. Fall sports, we have volleyball, boys soccer, cross country, girls golf, boys tennis, and of course football. So catch the scores every day on our website and on our social media, plus pictures and video highlights. So excited for everything to be back this week. You know what I like? That they start playing early enough to where it's still summer.
Yeah.
So it's still nice out for these sports.
Sure.
Also, this past weekend on Saturday, I didn't have it written down in here, and I just remembered it. This was cool, so I wanted to mention it. It was the first outdoor high school volleyball game ever in Jackson County on Saturday.
Yeah.
Jackson High at Lumen Christi on the football field under the lights. They brought in a court put on the field. So,
do we have photos of that?
We do.
I'll have to look at those because that must look really cool.
It was great. So photos online at jtv.tv. So thanks to Hannah and
the football.
She brought in the football too. So if you have read any of our team preview articles from Media Day on our website, any of the pictures, you might have seen this too.
It's really cool.
You know, it reminds me of Dan Petrie. He has his baseball his glove with him in the booth. So this is kind of the same idea for me and Matt.
I like it.
We're going to have Matt Kibby on the show.
Yes, sir.
In a few minutes. Something I don't want to talk about, so we'll just do this really quick. The Tigers are now 61-69. They have lost 8 of their last 10 games, swept over the weekend by last place Kansas City, and lost 2 of 3 against the Pirates. They are now 3.5 back of the wild card and 7 back in the division.
Yeah, that's not good.
No.
It's not good. Yeah,
and that's about it.
Yeah, I would like it to be. I mean, this was the worst time for this to have happened. Then we got the Dodgers coming up. It's just not great.
18-team race for one playoff spot.
Yeah, and now I'm starting to get into that mentality where I wasn't lost in the division, but now I'm starting to get lost in the division.
I think the division's definitely done for now.
Yeah.
I think the wild card is still in play. We have
for sure it is.
Probably about a month, I think almost exactly a month from today left in the season. So only 3.5 back of the wild card. Now, because we've lost these games, got to obviously win to get back in it, plus you got a scoreboard watch for other teams too. So we still have a series coming up, I think, with Cleveland and Minnesota both.
And those
are
big,
both still in the wild card too.
Those are big ones. I think the Dodger series is going to be tough, as it would always be. But you hope to at least get one out of there. But all I've wanted is for them to just win some series, and they've done the absolute opposite of that. So I think we just need a little bit more time, and maybe we can go on a little bit of a run.
All I wanted to happen is for us to get a new closing pitcher.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm asking for Christmas.
So Well, we need it before Christmas. We need it like now.
Yeah.
Can we make it a late birthday gift for me?
I hope so.
28 blown saves.
It's unreal.
That's tied for the most in Major League Baseball.
Yeah. Shocked it's not the most.
Also, with the 28 blown saves, I think over 90-something% of those blown saves, the Tigers have had the lead in the 7th or 8th inning or later.
Yeah.
So they've had the game already.
Right.
Even down to 2 outs and can't close it out. This week they're at home Monday through Wednesday against Tampa Bay. They have been arguably the best team in baseball this year besides Milwaukee and the Dodgers. I think they could be the favorite coming out of the American League.
I think definitely so.
And then the weekend series against the Dodgers. Skubal pitching at Comerica Friday night.
That's going to be, man, I missed it by one game. I'm going to the Saturday Dodgers-Tigers game.
Oh, man.
So I missed it by one day.
Well, and we won't be able to watch Friday anyways because we'll be live for football.
Right, exactly. And that's why I didn't pick Friday. That's why I picked Saturday. I'll say this. Like, we're 3.5 back of the wild card. That doesn't seem too terrible right now.
Yeah.
But when you look at these next 2 series, there's a world where these are both sweeps. So now you're talking about 6 straight games.
Oh, I just want to find the schedule really quick. Yeah, Tampa Bay tonight. That game is on FS1 too. So for those that stopped paying for Detroit Sportsnet, which I don't blame you. After the Dodgers, they have the Twins.
Big series.
In Minnesota, and then at Cleveland, and then home against the Twins.
Wow.
So 3 series in a row will probably decide the season after that.
I think so. Even with a month left, if we can escape with a win, I'm just calling for getting a win out of these next 2 series, out of the games. Then if they can go on a run against these division opponents, you have a shot. But if they
don't against the division opponents, then that's it.
Yeah, if they get swept here and then they're, let's just say, 6 games back of the wild card at that point and then go into this series, unless they get a sweep, it's looking real dire for them. So,
then after the 2 Twins and Cleveland series, then you're at home against the Rockies, then you go to Toronto, and then you're in Chicago against the White Sox, and then you host the Nationals and Pirates to end the year.
A couple of those series don't seem too bad. The White Sox sandwiched in there isn't great.
Nationals and Rockies, you have to win both those series. And not just for this, it's just because they're both not good.
And it's not like the Nationals haven't been playing better than they should be. They definitely are, but they're still a team that we should beat.
So we'll see. I have lost hope. The division is not happening now, and we need a new closing pitcher. I think that's obviously with 28 blown saves, that's been the issue.
Has to.
Even if you have half those games back, that's still only 14 blown saves. So then you go from 61 to 75 wins, and that puts you right up there with right behind like the Yankees and the Rays.
Man.
Quick NFL news, Deshaun Watson was named the starting quarterback for the Browns week 1. I'm not surprised. And also, as if the Raiders couldn't get any worse, Ashton Genty likely has an ankle sprain. And he's the only good player on that team.
I have to ask you, do you think Mendoza is going to be a good pro quarterback?
I can't say now.
I think based on what I'm seeing, I think he will be a good pro quarterback.
I mean, you can't take one preseason game against Houston.
No, just his, based on his intelligence, his play with Indiana and I believe Cal before that. I just think that's going to translate well to the pro game.
Cal?
Yeah, didn't he play for Cal before Indiana?
Oh, before Indiana. Yeah.
So I think he has the makings of a varsity athlete or of a pro football player, but.
And I did my fantasy football draft.
Did you?
I'm in a couple leagues. I did one of them yesterday.
Oh.
So just real quick, I want to share with you my team.
Hear.
It is 2 running back, 2 flex.
Okay.
PPR.
Okay.
And obviously I'm going to change it, but just in my starting lineup for now. Lamar.
Good
I had
start.
in an 8-man league, I had the 4th pick.
Oh, okay.
Lamar, Running back Devon Achan and Bucky Irving. Wide receivers Puka Nakua, George Pickens, Tip McMillan in my flex, one of my flexes. Trey McBride, tight end. Tutton from the Jaguars, their running back. Steelers defense, only because they're playing Atlanta week 1.
There you go. I like your strategy.
And kicker Brandon Aubrey.
Hey, you got some really good guys. You got arguably the best, best quarterback, best tight end. I really like, I have him kept in my keepers league, but I have Pickens, so I like the Pickens. Same thing. I kept McMillan. It's so funny.
Now my bench here.
Let me hear your bench.
Mark Andrews.
Okay.
Blake Corum.
I like Blake Corum. Dallas
Goedert.
Okay.
3 good tight ends. My other quarterback is Trevor Lawrence, and they play Cleveland week 1.
Okay.
Jaden Reed and Christian Watson, because I had to go Packers.
Had to get the Packers.
And I probably won't ever start him at quarterback this year, but I had to draft him with my very last pick as a nostalgic piece because it's his last season.
Oh, gosh.
The greatest quarterback of all time, Aaron Rodgers.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
He is starting in 1% of leagues.
I bet he is. And those people forgot to set their lineups. No,
like when Austin drafted Tom Brady.
That's right. Well, that was me that drafted it for him. But he left. He left to go to the gas station, so I had to just sneak in.
Not
and
for a
make
good
the
reason
pick. No,
either.
not at
He
all.
didn't need gas.
Yeah, no, not at all. No, I like some of your guys on your team. It's funny, 2 of your wide receivers are wide receivers that I'm keeping in my keepers league.
I forgot you're in a keepers league.
Yeah.
So what do you do for your draft? Do you just keep a certain number of people each year and then draft from the rest?
So we have 8 keepers.
Okay.
So we have to keep pretty much the entire starting lineup minus the flexes.
Oh.
Yeah, and then after that is when you have to pretty much the start of the draft is you're drafting your flexes and then your bench.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see. All right, coming up on the show today, our last 2 interviews leading up to the high school football season from Media Day. We've got the Napoleon head coach, Derek Schell from the Pirates, and Troy Allen from Michigan Center. So when we come back, we'll have a Media Day interview. Napoleon head coach Derek Schell will join the show. JTV High School Football Media Days here at Jackson High School. Happy to welcome back to the show again this year from the Napoleon Pirates, head coach Derek Schell, going into his 9th season. Coach, thank you again.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Big fan of the show.
Thank you. 7-4 last year. Won a playoff game. Talk a little bit about how you thought last year went and what made it successful again to get back into the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, our goal every year is to compete for a Cascades Conference Championship and make a run in the playoffs. So, I thought we competed for a championship and we made a nice run in the playoffs. So that was a big success for us. And I think when you make the playoffs and your team gets a chance to see that level of competition on a regular basis, that it's a great thing for them.
This will be the 3rd year now with the T offense.
Yes, sir.
How much more familiar has it become with the kids, and how has everybody embraced it more?
Our kids bought into it immediately. It was great. In the previous interview we did, just to hear the guys talk about it and how much they enjoy it. It makes things simple for our kids. And that's something that allows our kids to play fast and physical when they don't have to worry so much about thinking. So we like that aspect of it.
Is it program-wide now?
Yeah, we implemented that 5-12 when we did it. Even our 5th and 6th grade teams are running that. Our middle school staff has been implementing it. So it's great to get those kids as 9th graders. Our JV coach appreciates that. We have these 9th and 10th graders who have already been in the system. They know the terminology. They know our philosophy and the culture that we've built running that. So it just makes everything super easy, especially when you have some, last year we had an extremely talented 10th grader in Halston Snellberger who came up, and he already knew the offense pretty well.
I just saw in the group on Facebook, by the way, how much he squatted there in the weight room. That was Must have been fun to watch right there.
Yeah. I mean, and then he attempted a 565 right after that, and got super close to it. He's gonna, as a 10th grader, he's gonna compete to be the strongest kid we've had in the program since we've started keeping records. He set the school record in squats at 545. Sorry, is what he got.
Wow.
He missed 565, and then. Yeah, it's nice that we got, Nate Glaza is another big, strong kid who's in there competing with him every time. So it's not like, we got this guy squatting 545 and the next closest guy is doing 315.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have two guys squatting over 500 pounds and a couple pushing 400-ish.
So I want to ask you a question about the tee. So we've talked about this a lot, how you get down early, it's kind of hard to come back a lot of times when you're running the tee with clock management and everything. If you were down like 14-0 going into halftime, like what kind of adjustments do you make with the tee coming out at halftime?
Well, hopefully we'd make those adjustments earlier, but sometimes it's just, they're doing some things differently that we haven't seen. I mean, we went into Leslie last year down 14-28, and we made some adjustments there, but a lot of times it's just getting a chance at a small school to get everybody together and to be able to make some changes and adjustments to the blocking scheme. That's the big one, is just, we have several guys who go both ways, and getting a chance to get everybody on the same page, because you can tell your right tackle one thing and you can't tell your tight end something because he's on the field playing outside linebacker. So getting a chance to get everybody on the same page is the big thing there at halftime.
Yeah. Do you think like time management becomes an issue? Like, is that something you have to look at, is saying like, hey, we're going to be running the ball a lot like in the second half, so we got to kind of worry about this, or, is that something that you look at?
Yeah. We actually, it's hard to believe, but we practice every week. We have a no huddle system. And then, we have different tempos. Most of the time we want to be kind of in our, turtle speed, where we walk up to the line of scrimmage and stuff. But we have different levels to that we practice. And a lot of times that, being able to control the clock helps us more than it hurts us, I think.
Yeah. You've got several guys coming back from last year. So what excites you about your leaders helping some of the younger guys that are coming up?
Yeah, I mean, this group of seniors, there's 18 of them that we're real excited about. They've been leaders for us. I mean, Ashton Warner, he's starting his 4th season at linebacker for us. Rylan Lovett is going to be, so we have about 7 or 8 of those guys who are, 3-year varsity players for us as sophomores. They might not have been feature guys, but yeah, and their ability to lead, and just because they know what they're doing, we can get into things a lot quicker, and then those underclassmen get a chance to watch it happen in live speed.
With the kind of offense you have, obviously physicality and strength are 2 huge parts of it. So I know you run the powerlifting too at Napoleon. I imagine that ties into a lot of it, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've built a culture at Napoleon where, and we tell the guys this, like, we're not that, in 2020 we were a 1-7 football program, and our commitment to the weight room is what turned that around. I think, we haven't gotten into any football games in the last 5 years where we just thought that we were out physicaled and out muscled, and that commitment to the weight room is what has built Napoleon football.
What are the program numbers looking like?
We're in the middle of our testing week. We're going to be, our top end is going to be better than I think it's been in the past, and we're gonna be sitting right around the same number of 1,000-pound kids that we've had. We're really excited for the progress that they've made. And the nice thing now is we've been keeping pretty detailed records since 2021, and we can kind of compare these guys and the progress that they've made from freshman year to senior year. And I'm looking forward to taking the weekend, sitting down, and seeing that. And some of these guys have had brothers who've played in the program, and we can kind of compare where they were with their brothers. So having the ability to do that is really fun. Something we're excited to do this weekend.
What are your team goals for this year? I know one of them obviously compete for a conference championship, but any other goals?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we want to compete for Cascades Conference Championship, and then we want to make a run in the playoffs. This upcoming Montague game, that Week 1 game, is going to be big for us. I think we have a pretty good reputation of having a good football program in this area, and we're hoping that we went up to Fruitport last year, and we weren't very happy with our showing there, but we'd like to go up there, or we'd like to play Montague and kind of set a tone around the state of pulling football is here.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about Montague. They've always been a solid program, winning program. So what kind of test or challenge are you excited about for you guys to have? And that's a heck of a game to start the year with.
Yeah, I mean they're no jokers. They're going to be a very solid football program. It actually worked out really nicely. Week 2, when we started the conference play, we played Grass Lake, which is a veer option, triple option team now. Mm-hmm. And Montague has gone to that in the last couple of seasons, so that's going to be it's a great opportunity to not only prep for an option attack, but also just play a football team that's got a storied history.
Of course, you've got the battle for the jug, Columbia on the schedule again, 7 wins in a row against them. So how important is that game for you guys, and how do you make it 8 in a row?
It's huge for our kids. I think our kids look forward to that. We try to keep our kids, focused on the next game or the first game, which is easier to do last year when Columbia was Week 1. This year we don't play them till later in the season, and they're gonna, we got to beat Columbia to play for a conference championship now that we're on the same side of the conference. But to beat them, we're gonna have to play physical smash mouth football, and they're gonna be one of the more talented programs skill wise I think that we'll see, and being able to keep those guys locked down is going to be important.
What does this team need to do over the next month to prepare for the season and go and get ready to face Montague Week 1?
We got to be committed to to getting better every day, and just being persistent and pounding the rock and keep getting after it.
Coach, of course, good luck this season, and appreciate you taking a few minutes with us. So thank you.
Appreciate it.
Derek Shell, Napoleon High School, here on JTV. Welcome back here on JTV. Happy to welcome to the show. I think this is the first time we've had him on. I don't know why we haven't gotten him on.
I know.
Until now. He is one of the commentators for JTV Sports. Of course, you can find him football and basketball and play-by-play for our hockey coverage.
Yes.
On JTV as well. Plus Detroit Mercy, Oakland University, and he went to Syracuse too. The Mecca School for Broadcasters.
Yes, sir.
Is Syracuse. Matt Kibby on JTV. How are you?
I'm doing well. I appreciate the introduction. Most proud of the JTV, I would actually say. So I'm very excited to be here. First time, long time. So happy to be on with D. Rice.
Yeah, I don't know why we haven't gotten you on until now. We actually, I think the last time we mentioned you on the show was when your 6'7" video went viral.
It was.
From
would you believe that that's still getting notifications about that on TikTok? Like it's still more
really?
And more likes.
No way.
Yeah, it's been like a year. Yeah.
That's got at least a couple million views, I gotta think.
Yeah, the last time I looked, it was at 4 million or something. Not to brag or anything, but yeah, no. It's at like 4 million and like 500,000 likes. It's insane how it blew up.
Wow.
So was it Kids Day at the game, or how did that come up? I have to ask just for a second while we're talking about it.
It was Kids Day, and at Oakland, they do that game at 11 in the morning. And when I'm thinking about it, this was like peak 6-7, like 8 time. And I'm looking at the scoreboard. I'm like, the math is that they can do it. And so I set up my phone, And I was like, no way. At one point, they kept trying threes to get it, and then they missed a throw that lined it up perfectly. So I'm like, I'm recording. If you go and look at like the raw video file, me trying this was like 4 minutes of footage of me just waiting for it, and then it worked out flawlessly where there was a foul, an and one, whatever it was, and it just worked out. You could see the anticipation on all the kids because they started realizing what was happening. And I don't tell anybody this, but like the best part about it was like everyone my age and everyone around me that was working on the scorers table, like we all got hyped. The score was 17-38. So like that was like our moment.
Yeah.
And 6-7 rolls around and all these kids are just like living their dream. So yeah, it was awesome, and I'm happy because we were like one of the first ones to post about it. And then it's funny to watch every other like team. They all their women have their education day, and they all followed the same trend. Once we posted it and a couple others, like it became this big thing this season.
Who knew that you'd be the one to pave the way for the rest of them, right?
Hey, paved the way in something, and I'm proud that the 6-7 moment is my moment.
So as we begin our 27th year of high school football on JTV this week, we have a great one, week 1. We'll talk about that in a second. I mentioned at the top of the show, you can't see it because you're on the phone. Probably watch this back, but shout out to Hannah for the football here. So we will have that in the booth with us this season. So from Media Day, so the bedazzled football. So just so you know, we'll have a prop for us.
I was telling her at Media Day, I'm like, I'm gonna buy it off you, but I think if we're gonna have it there, we might have to have dazzle the entire thing. We can't have a half the dazzle football, so we might have to give it to her and be like, you got 3 days, game time Friday at 7. We need it fully bedazzled.
There you go.
Yeah, and she won't be at. I don't think she'll be at the live game on Friday. So we need it before.
That's
we
right.
Need it Thursday. So, yeah, we've got a great one. Week 1. It was a great game last year at Western. Came down the last play. Last play happened twice because of a penalty. Western wins at home. That ended up being one of their only 2 wins last year. They beat Jackson and they beat Northwest. Still 2 pretty good wins. Rival and then crosstown rival. So I'm really excited for this one. It's going to be at Jackson High, an even bigger stadium. Going to be a packed house. Most of these guys from last year's game are back this year for both teams. Both are great head coaches, so I'm looking forward to it. And I know you're excited to be with us on the football crew this season.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I think there's better in the state of Michigan and around the country for high school football coverage, and I sincerely mean that. I think our crew does a fabulous job covering the area and making sure that everybody gets their moment. There's not many TV stations the size of JTV that are doing a media day for, was it like 20 schools or something like that, where everybody got their moment and everybody's getting their content and posted. So I think that's really unique. In 27 years, I mean, theoretically, JTV's been this longer than we've been alive. Like, that's incredible to think about, the extensive coverage that JTV has had about high school football on its own, and then all the other sports that JTV does. It's incredible. And I think you're right. This game is going to be a big one. You talk about last year, that was the opening game. Even the year before, an incredible game. So, like, these games have been really key to tone for what we expect on our high school football game of the week. Like, these are games. There's a reason why we go to these. And I think there's something to be said. And we talked to the kids during media day. There's something to be said about the city aspect of it and the actual proper schools that are trying to build this budding rivalry back up. And it starts with Western and Jay High. Like, this is the matchup of the week. There aren't many better games happening that have exciting background that this one does. And I think we're going to be in for a show.
Yeah, a couple other games I want to mention on our schedule. So we have that week 1, and then both Lumen Christi games I'm really excited for, because obviously we know their schedules ridiculous. So we have Lumen against Traverse City St. Francis in week 3. Now, those two played each other in the 2022 state final, I believe, Division 7. They played here in Jackson at Lumen Christi in that regular season. St. Francis beat them. Lumen started the year 0-3, ran the table the rest of the way, and then beat St. Francis in the rematch in the state final. And then they've played each other a couple times since then, too. So that's going to be fun. And then I'm even more excited for Week 5 against Toledo Central Catholic. I'm reading a couple other outlets and what, especially from the Toledo area, about them, just an early look at them. Some of them in that area are calling this game with Lumen and Toledo arguably the biggest game in the Midwest. Ooh. It's going to be that big of a matchup.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's going to be a big deal. I was hearing rumblings that Toledo Catholic Central, they might even beat some D3 teams or some NAIA teams. That's how they are, which says a lot about Lumen to be in that same grace, to be part of that conversation. So, we have a great schedule, and I think that Lumen being on there for those two games, like, that's exciting. Like, the Lumen team, we were talking to them during media day. They might even be better than they were last year. And we talked how good they were and who they had and the adversity that they had to face. Lumen hasn't had to face that adversity before, maybe the year or two before. But the way that they're able to rebound and start running the table at the end of the year is incredible. And I think they're going to be as battle-tested as any state champion potential team that has ever fielded. So it's exciting that we get to be there and witness that, because that's their best game on the schedule. We can all agree on that. But, like, you could pick any one of the games on their schedule and we could be there. Like, that's how good that schedule is that they deserve that coverage and they've built that ability. So, yeah, you're right. It's those two games. I'm glad we're there, but they're going to be so much fun just to watch them play and watch these teams go at it. And like you said, one of the teams in the Midwest because of the history of those two programs.
Yeah, and for me, I think the majority of the games on our schedule will be good. I can't say every single one, just tell everyone the truth, just because a couple of those games I don't know how these teams will be going into the year. Like week 2, we have Columbia Central and Michigan Center. Those two teams played at Michigan Center last year. It was 49-14. We know how good Michigan Center was, making the regional final. Columbia just missing out on the playoffs, but they still had one of their better years in a long time. So I don't know how Michigan Center is going to be this year, because they have essentially a whole new offense as far as new faces. Not a new quarterback, but a different quarterback who's already played, who had to step in earlier in his 4 years because injuries. So I think, anything from Michigan Center, if he can have a good game, if the ball's in Trey Collins' hands, they're going to win some games. And I think because of the small leap that Columbia Central took again from the year before to last year, I think they got to get in the playoffs this year. And that week 2 game we have is a game that they have to win.
Yeah, it's a benchmark game, that's for sure. And you don't often think about that early in the season because everybody's kind of settling in. And if I'm correct, that game's still before it even starts, the first 2 weeks. So, like, you really have to adjust. And maybe that's a good thing for Columbia Central, because it gives them a chance to really have that full week of prep where you don't have the distractions of starting, or you're just started maybe a couple half days. But, yeah, you're right. It's an interesting matchup. And I don't think we're going to have any bad games. Even a 49-14 game is still we'll find some positives in that. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think to Columbia Central, like, you can feel kind of the taste that they got in their mouth of what they want to give back and how they want to approach the season. They have a little bit more of a drive. There's a couple teams in the county, in the area, that had a disappointing year last year that I don't think we're going to be saying they had a disappointing year this year.
And And another one of those teams, like you mentioned, I think in the same boat as Columbia. I think it was just a one-off year because they had some injuries that piled up, and they went on a short losing streak, all conference games. The team, I would say, besides Hanover Horton, that's the favorite in the Cascades Conference, the Leslie Blackhawks. We've talked about them, and we talked about it with Coach at Media Day. They started 4-0. It was one of the two games you filled in for me, and I was shooting our highlights. I went to Leslie Michigan Center, and that was week 5. Leslie was up 20-something to nothing at halftime. Michigan Center scores 30 in the second half. They come back and win. Joel Cranmore, their quarterback, was already dealing with an injury. It went downhill from there. And then, of course, the year before, they had their best year ever, made the regional final, lost to Monroe St. Mary. So, comeback season for Leslie, and I hope we get them on a couple of games too, because not just their quarterback, Joel Cranmore, but they have a great wide receiver and a great tight end, Jackson Fawcett, who's playing SEC baseball after he graduates. So they've got some good pieces, and I'm excited to watch them.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that as well, because they have a drive. There's an identity at Leslie. You think about the coaching staff at Leslie. They're all homegrown. They're all Leslie folks. They've been around this program. That means something in the high school game more than it does really kind of anywhere else. And Leslie has that. They have a culture, and they were disappointed after last year. And we said that it's hard to start 4-0 and then kind of have to navigate the rest of the season. So they're going to be able to do that again. And again, iron sharpens iron. And when you face that adversity, you have to feel like the next year is going to be kind of I like the word like revenge tour in a way. And it kind of feels like that for Leslie.
Couple other quick things we want to talk about before we let you go. One, we talked about the Tigers at the beginning of the show. It's disappointing, but we'll get to that in a second. I saw a video. It was from State Champs. I think it was Patty Cesarini. She talked about, is the Catholic League, which is what Lumen Christi is, and it's the Catholic League the toughest conference in the state, or with Toledo for their league, whatever, because you had 4 of the 8 state champions last year in football from the Catholic League. You had Lumen Christi, you had Dearborn Divine Child, the other couple I'm drawing a blank on, but I think it's for sure the toughest league, and then with Monroe St. Mary joining the Catholic League, that's just another team that's right in the mix.
Well, yeah, you add Monroe St. Mary's for the first time in a long time. They leave the long-standing Huron League. You also add the Toledo schools as well are going to be moving their way over there eventually and building one of the largest Catholic high school leagues, not only in this area or in the Midwest, but in the country, just by adding those schools. So I think it's hard to argue when you have 4 state champions in one conference and one division. Now, that to be fair, right, with the Catholic League, they break it up into divisions. So like it's not just you're in the Catholic League like you are, but they break it up a little bit and you have all the division overlap. But their ability to play against each other and go up divisions certainly helps them. And I think it's hard to argue with that 4 champion status. There are a couple of leagues that are really good. I think the argument can be made that any league with Cass Tech and Martin Luther King down in Detroit is a really good league just from having those teams there. But yeah, it's hard to argue with that, especially when it goes statewide and it starts bringing in other states and bringing in Ohio and everything. They've done a really good job of making sure that they are always competitive. There's never a down team. If a team is down, it's because of the competition they had to face and that the top teams are really good. So yeah, that Catholic League, it's something special. It's a conference that is almost in a way reminds you a lot of college football and conference realignment. So it's really interesting how they've approached that, how they've made it work for them and for the league as a whole.
Yeah, I was just going to mention it. All these conferences changing. I'm opening our friend Doug Donnelly's Overtime Plus magazine, which another fine job by him. 54 teams in here from Southeast Michigan. A lot of conference changing. The SEC, the Southeastern Conference, went from 14 to 27 schools with 4 divisions. So pretty much all the KLAA with Brighton, Belleville, and Canton, Heartland, they're basically all coming over to the SEC. So now you have 4 divisions, 27 schools. That almost feels like the SEC and the Big Ten in college football, which is now the Big 18. And then even some of the smaller conferences, the Big 8, the Cascades Conference, the Great Lakes Conference with Erie, Mason, and Summerfield, etc. And then the LCAA is getting smaller. And then Monroe St. Mary leaving the Huron League. It's just, I get it for college, it's mostly about money at that stage and these TV contracts. But for high school, to me at least, I don't know if I would say it's too much. I get why some teams have to because their enrollment's just going down. They have to play even smaller schools. Yeah. But I get it in some aspects, but to me it's just a lot for high school.
I agree with you. I think part of the problem and the reason we're seeing this is because of that point system, because now it's becoming ever more important. If you want to make the playoffs, well, you better play bigger schools,
right?
Or you better play tougher schools. So if you enter into a division that, for like, let's say SMCC, the Huron League does not have many big schools, but now they're going to join the Catholic League that has a ton of big schools that just by having them on your schedule and a guaranteed contract with them essentially every single year, well, now your chances of getting into the playoffs have just significantly improved. So that's part of the reason I think we're seeing that. But you're also, like you said, the enrollment. And I do think in some cases, some of these conference movements have been to help regionalize a little bit. There are some that have done that. And I think if you look at it at that approach, if you're trying to make travel a little bit easier, that's a good reason to move. But in some cases, you're doing it for the playoffs. I guess that's also a good reason to move. It just matters on how you're doing it. And are you putting your student athlete experiences first? If you're doing that, and that's your reason for making the move, then I think you are doing something right at the high school level. But if you're trying to just, in a way, cherry pick your way into the playoffs, maybe look in the mirror a little bit and make some adjustments. I don't think that's been the case in the Jackson County area. I think every move has served a purpose. But yeah, it is interesting to see all the movement that we've seen this year, more than we have in probably the last, 10, 15 years combined. We've seen more movement this year.
Yeah, and just real quick before we move on to Tigers and wrap up, like the Cascades Conference when Hillsdale joins next year, it's for all sports too, varsity and JV, and a lot of them for middle school too, which I think it's mostly just parents that have raised the issue about the travel because when Lumen joined the Catholic League, an 8th and 7th grade volleyball game on a Tuesday night at 5:00, you're going to have to go from Jackson to Toledo Central Catholic or, Detroit Loyola. But for football, when Hillsdale joins next year, you're going to have to go from Hillsdale to Manchester. That's a long journey for a football game.
Well, I can tell you one thing. The players aren't going to be too upset about it because if I remember anything about the long travel days, that got me out of school early, and I was all in on that. I was all in on the early exit to go play a game. So I think they'll appreciate it. But yeah, you're right. It's a tough spot to be in, to put your parents in, and put your school in to have to travel so much. But if you find the benefits, if you can make it work, if you can make an agreement with some of the schools that, hey, we're going to push our game back to 7:00, or we're going to push our game back to 8:00, just to make sure that it gives everyone a good opportunity. I think that's another option that you might see some of these schools start doing a little bit more as well.
Before we go, we talked about the Tigers at the top of the show, and I don't want to. I'm ready to cancel my Detroit Sportsnet.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea to do it now. I've had enough after this week. They've lost 8 out of the last 10.
They got swept by the team who's last place in the division, Kansas City, who's really has not been good this year.
No.
And they lost 2 out of 3 against the Pirates, who are so-so, but, those are games you had to have. 28 blown saves. That's what just is astounding to me. Adam wants a new closing pitcher for Christmas, but we need one, now.
Yeah, you're right. I think it's super frustrating watching this team. I've had my frustrations with them. I thought for a moment, I can tell you what, I was so happy at the deadline. I thought it was a great deadline, and then they started winning against the A's and the Giants, so we take that with a grain of salt. We certainly should have. But I was all in on that. I was like, oh, yeah, we sold at the deadline, and we're going to make the moves that we need to get our young talent up, and then you remember, we still have Kenley Jansen, who's trying to get 500 career saves, needs 8 more. It's probably going to take 20 games to do it, which just is absurd. But yeah, no, it's frustrating. And I think I've talked about this with a couple of people. I think the most frustrating part for fans is that they made the playoffs, but I don't think that was ever the goal or the intention of Scott Harris. I think he had a plan. And that timeline got pushed up by pitching chaos and the percentage team of getting into the playoffs in 2024. I think that timeline got pushed up. I think the timeline was really supposed to start this year, and we should be seeing what happened in 2024 this year. But because of everything working out in the Tigers' favor the last 2 years, to one force their way into the playoffs, and then last year to limp into the playoffs, I think that really changed how we had to approach the offseason, and a little bit of frustration from this team. And it's tough to watch, but again, I think we're at a point right now where, hey, if they somehow miraculously get into the postseason here, cool, that's awesome. We're not playing baseball next year. We don't have to worry about it. But 2028, there should be no reason why this young talent doesn't propel this team to the top of the division and into the playoffs. It's frustrating, yes, but we're at a point where I'm so excited for the future. And I know we can only say that for so much, but I'm so excited for the future of this team and the prospects that have turned into talent. Kevin McGonigal, Max Clark's going to be a stud, a star. Colt Keith, Hao-Yu Lee. It's so much fun to watch them play, and that's part of the reason why I'm not going to cancel my subscription, right? Even though I bought it for a year, so I don't really have a choice, right? But I'm excited to still watch them play and watch them grow, even if we're not going to make the playoffs this year.
And I guess that's the disappointing thing with it too, is that we are still one of the top teams in terms of run differential. So it's we win these games where we win 12-1, 8-0, all the go on these crazy streaks of those kind of games, and then we just lose a big bunch of 6-5 games and 1-0 games. It's upsetting. And I agree with you about the young talent. I think that's a big thing with this team is it is still so young, but because of the last few years, like you said, the expectation is so much higher. Do you think going into the next season, what we need to really solidify this team is just relief pitching and go in that area, or is there anything
if there
else?
is a next season?
Yeah, okay.
I'm just saying it's a reality.
We're not playing baseball in 2027. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
To answer your question, though, I think every team, every good team, their one struggle is the bullpen. If you have a good bullpen, you make your life way easy. You can play with quote-unquote mediocre players if you have a really good bullpen, because the ability to shut down in the late innings is the difference maker. So, yeah, I think you need a good bullpen. I would love to see – I'm gonna give you a crazy idea here. I know they keep wanting to extend Jackson Jobe. I think you should commit to him being the closer. And I think you should put him in the back end of the bullpen. He's throwing 100+. He doesn't have to – he's coming off a Tommy John. I don't want to see him have to go through another one of those. I think you should put him in the bullpen and commit to him being a 20 to 35 pitches a night kind of guy, so that he can just max out his tank and empty his tank every time he goes out there and doesn't have to extend it over 5 innings. I think that would be a great move. And we saw it kind of happen in 2024 before he got Tommy John. But yeah, I think that would be a really smart move. I think you should try and find a way. I don't think there's any reason to re-sign Gleyber Torres. I think you have the future in Colt Keith and Hao-Yu Lee there. let him go make some money in free agency. Yeah, it sucks in the locker room, but go and make some money and let your young talent really speak for itself. I think there is a lot of really good pieces that can set you up. And if we somehow play baseball in 2027, we're not, then we can really see this future impact and see these prospects that are going to be long tenured stays with the Detroit Tigers.
And I love the idea. I haven't really thought about Jackson Jobe. I mean, I know he debuted as being like relief at the very start and then obviously did what he was supposed to do to become a starter. But I love that idea of him being in relief because when you look at the free agency for this next year in terms of relief pitching, it's really not that good. So if you could take the elements that you currently have, the starting pitching is there. We could go out and get a guy if we want, especially losing Mize and Skubal. So I feel like, David, that's smart. What were you saying?
You don't need to though.
Yeah.
Your starting pitcher is set in the minors. You have guys that are going to come up. Those trade prospects that you got for Mize and for Skubal, they should be realistically ready for next year or the year after. So you really don't need to go and get starting pitcher. Remember too, Reese Olson is going to return.
Yeah.
He's been out this year. So like you have starting pitching and somebody's going to have to probably get bumped out to the bullpen, which isn't a terrible thing either because you kind of need that right now. But you just need a couple of guys. There's been really good guys in the bullpen. You just need kind of a guy.
Right. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. Week 1 on JTV, Western at Jackson, Tony Dungy Field, Jackson High School. That is going to be a packed house. Although the press box will probably be 118 degrees.
It will be.
And the sun is going to be facing us right at like halftime. But besides that, now JPS, they're always fantastic hosts, and they have great facilities. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to more Saturdays at the Big House soon too. Woo. So thanks, Matt. I will see you on Friday at Jackson.
Sounds good. I'm looking forward to it. We're wearing shorts, D-Rice. We're wearing shorts.
Don't. If Josh Burgett is watching, he will kill both of us, but don't tell him that.
Yeah, gotta wear
I
shorts.
Just saw him today.
And Austin Curtis will protect us. Upper body shots only. We're good.
Exactly. Thanks, man. We appreciate it. We'll see you Friday.
Awesome. See you guys.
Matt Kibby here on JTV. We'll be right back. JTV High School Football Media Days here at Jackson High School, and happy to have on the show head coach of the Michigan Center Cardinals, going into his 14th year, Troy Allen. Coach, thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Really good year last year, 10-2. First district title for you guys since the semifinal team in 2021. Lost to a really good Jefferson team in the regional final. Just first, reflect on last year. Give us your thoughts on what it meant to get back to winning some playoff games.
Last year was exciting, but I tell you, it was also last year. One of the things that I think was special is I thought we'd be in that spot the year before, and we dealt with some really significant injuries. So that was kind of, it was just frustrating to know the potential was there, but obviously we just couldn't put it together. So to, actually be able to make a run with the group and for them to kind of fulfill some of the things that they, thought they could attain, that made me feel pretty good. And it's always nice to make the run just because the way our fans and community rally is special. And I just want all my players to feel that and see it, and they did.
You guys scored a lot of points on offense last year. What worked to be able to score all those points?
I think just trusting in our guys to make plays. We just talked about getting the ball. We had some unbelievable quarterback, but also some really dynamic playmakers. And sometimes, I think what allowed us to score a lot of points is sometimes taking the simpler play and knowing that a 5-yard play could be an 80-yard play if you put it in our guys' hands instead of, threw the ball around a lot. But like I said, great quarterback and just a lot of playmakers, and that generally adds up to be pretty good. So
some of the team and some of the guys still have full look a little bit different this year. A couple different running backs, different quarterback. Not a new quarterback, but just a different quarterback from last year. So what's it been like to work with some of the newer guys that are going to have an opportunity this year?
Just excited for them because, I was talking a little bit earlier, is you had a lot of conversations with them last year about just be patient, trust me. You've got some talent in front of you. And, for those kids to hang in there and keep working and believe that what I was saying was true is now their time. And I'm super excited to kind of see, how they take advantage of it. But yeah, we definitely got some kids that have been waiting and are ready.
So I just mentioned you'll have a different quarterback, but not a new quarterback, Trey Collins. He had to come in a couple years ago because of injuries. Ended up having a good year and was all conference. So what's it like, because you have some other newer guys coming up, you're still going to have the same quarterback that you've worked with before?
Yeah, absolutely. Because of some unfortunate things that took place, we had to kind of plug Trey in, and for him to have that experience then is going to be huge for us right now. His comfort level has been even better than I thought that it would be, and he's just such a it's tough to be a quarterback, and he's cool under pressure as any kid I've ever been around. I've watched it in basketball, watched it in football, and he's unique in that way. So I think his trust in his teammates, but there's always a feeling when Trey has a ball in his hands, like I said, either sport, that as long as Trey's got the ball, we're going to be okay, because he's either going to do something with it himself, or he's going to trust in us to get it, in our hands. So, a lot of respect that way.
Any specific opponents that you guys have circled on the schedule? I expect, at least for me, the conference to be really competitive. Again, obviously, you guys in Hanover played for it last year. I think Leslie will have a bounce back year. Napoleon, obviously, Columbia. So anybody specifically you guys have circled?
Well, I think Columbia game 2, is a pretty talented group. I watched them last year. I think our JV played them twice, so I knew some of the upcoming talent. And, I think there's somebody that we don't want to overlook. I know it's, a former Michigan Center guy's running that program, and he would love a win against his old school, much like I like to get wins against my old school. So,
right.
I definitely think that'll be a big one. Leslie, I think that quarterback's phenomenal, great receiver, and I don't know tons about what else they have, but those two alone are dangerous. So those are a couple of them.
Any other team goals this year? I know you won the East, lost to Hanover in the conference championship. Any other team goals for you guys this year?
Conference championship is everything for us. That's if we're not there competing for that, then that's going to be disappointing. I want that to be kind of the goal every year. Some years you could say it may not be super realistic. This group, we've got ways to go, because I think there are some question marks, but we're not going to shy away from that's what our goal is.
This will be year 14 for you.
It's actually going to be 15.
15.
Yeah.
At Michigan Center. So what still drives you to keep doing this year after year?
Well, part of it's selfish. I love the game of football, and I just love building these relationships with the kids and trying to help them, be, great men in the community and good fathers. So sometimes the sport is a secondary piece. It's the connections that you build. For me, I have an unbelievable coaching staff that's like family to me. Some of my former players are coming back coaching with me, and just guys in our community that just love Michigan Center. So me walking away, it would feel like I'm kind of leaving a family, and for me, I'm still got that hunger, still like to win, and still think I'm getting the message across to the kids in the right way. So,
you have the same week 1 opponent as you did last year, Onstead. You guys shut them out. What is it going to take for your guys over this next month to get ready to face them again?
Just make sure we're doing everything to be the best version of Michigan Center on that game one. I don't know tons about Onstead. As we do their scrimmage, we'll get a little bit more information, but, trying to just really focus really hard on us being the best version of ourselves. And then, I think if we can get to where I know we can be, we'll go into that game feeling pretty confident and kind of take it from there.
We'll have you guys week 2 against Columbia Central live on JTV, so we're looking forward to that. And good luck to you guys this season. So thanks for taking a few minutes with us.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me again.
So thank you to Troy Allen and Coach Derek Schell earlier, and all the coaches and players that we had a chance to talk to.
Yeah, Media Day was so much fun. I love doing it every year. It's a good start
Always
to the
is.
season. Yeah.
So you can go back and watch any of those interviews on our Facebook. They're on our YouTube, our Instagram, and of course online at jtv.tv. So, and of course also thank you to Prate's Place in downtown Grass Lake. That's a really good place to go either before or after the Grass Lake games or any other area
That's
game.
the spot to go to.
So, the spot, good food, good drinks, live music. They got Cornhole League on Thursdays. They just redid the patio area outside. So, it's looking good. They have a great staff there. I know a lot of them, and they're all great at Prate's Place. So, check them out. Scan the QR code or order online, pratesplace.com. And also thank you to them for helping with Media Day as well, and our Friday night football scores as well online at jtv.tv. So, and again, Center for Family Health scoreboard returns today, Monday. So plus our orthopedic rehab specialist photo galleries, our video highlights brought to you by Lifeways, and everything. So I'm excited to be back with high school sports this week.
Me too. I've been waiting a long time for this, so I'm very excited.
But then I start dreading the fact that we only have about one more month of nice weather.
Then it's going to get cold.
And then I hate it.
Yep.
And then that's when I go and take my vacation in Florida.
There you go.
So, all right, thank you to Prate's Place. Thank you to the Insurance Circle Agency, myinsurancecircle.com. And I wish you well in your fantasy league.
Thank you. You too.
So we will be back for our picks, back to 2 a week. So Wednesday, 7 o'clock, our Prate's Place game picks for week 1 of high school football. We'll see you then.
Hump day.